And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're talking about a game called Cavern Tavern, The Secret of the Five Realms. I'm not actually sure what the secret is. This is not like a dungeon crawl or anything where you're looking for some magical sword. Maybe the secret is this Cavern Tavern. The fact is, in this game, you are a barmaid or a waiter in a bar, and you are going around and filling people's drinks as fast as you can. You got to find the right ingredients. You got to mix them yourself. You got to do everything here for these fantasy people coming in. This is what we call a dice placement game. You're going to be rolling dice and placing the dice on different areas on the board. The most popular game in this genre is probably Kingsburg or Alien Frontiers. There's a lot of games that have this, but this one here also has you getting drinks and puts you in a fantasy setting. Is it good? Let's find out. The game takes place over 10 rounds, and these rounds are going to be kept track of with this clock up here. Your goal in this game is to serve orders, and you're going to be doing that by spending these different drinks, so ambrosia, nectar, and rocks, etc. You'll need to do those to fulfill an order. So for example, this guy here wants a top shelf elf, which needs herbs, syrup, nectar, wine, beer, and liquor. Alright, so and if you do so, he's going to get 21 points. So what players are going to do on their turn is everyone's going to have some dice that they roll, and whoever's not doing very well will get an extra die. You're going to roll these dice and then take turns placing these dice on the board. Now first, you'll probably want to take an order, and you have to take an order on your turn that you'll put on your board that you're going to be trying to give that person what they need. But after that, you're going to be taking turns placing the dice out. There are spots on the board here. You can put dice depending on the number of players. A 1 will give you fruit or herbs. A 2 will give you syrup or rocks, etc. So these spots here in the middle are going to give you the resources you want. Down at the bottom in the cellar, you can get other things. So let's say here I have a 13. I could put all 3 of these dice here. And first of all, I'm going to get 5 points, and I'm going to get an elixir because I'm washing the dishes. Whenever you do one of these tasks down here, or one of the tasks on the chore board, they're all pretty much the same. They're going to give you one of the resources and a certain number of points, possibly something extra, like you can steal points from someone else or trade a thing. This one here gives you the first player token. But you'll also move down the respective tracks here. So if you're working in the cellar, working on the chore board, and when you get down far enough, you will get an extra points whenever you do that. So whenever you do another activity on the chore board that gives points, I'll get a +2 points, +3, and +4. And later on, you'll get these plus or -1 chips that you can use to modify your dice. And then finally, the last place you can go when placing out your dice is the Wizard's Workshop. So you come up here to the Wizard's Workshop, and here it's the number of dice that you place. So you can draw cards, take like wild cards essentially, this magic potion, which can cover for anything. You can make nasty happy if you go up here. And that's the problem with nasty, and that's the problem with orders in general. So when you look at your board, you have your order here. So this order here is he needs herbs, syrup, nectar, wine, beer, and liquor. Well, that's probably not going to be too easy to get to. As soon as you take an order on the clock track, you're going to place your token to show when you took the order. At the beginning of each turn where you haven't completed that order, Nasty, the owner of the tavern, is going to get madder and madder. Whenever you get to these numbers here, you will draw a card, which is something very nasty. Here, this one's not so bad. Move up once on your kitchen track. But sometimes you might have to do something negative until, like here, you have to complete a chore and get no reward for it. So you have to do this before you do anything else. Anyway, when you finally fulfill the order, so let's say I fulfill the order for the elf, but it's taken me 3 turns. So instead of getting 21 points, it took me 3 turns. I'm only going to get 6 points for doing it. And in fact, if I don't do it by 6 turns of the game, I'm going to lose the 21 points. He's going to be very irritable. So the faster you can do these, the more points you're going to get. There's also special cards that you can get from going to the Wizard's Workshop that will let you do different things. When completing an order, replace one listed ingredient card with an ingredient of your choice, says the Book of Potions. Here, change one die on your player board to any number, so these cards can help you out. There's all sorts of orders in the game that range from just a few points. There's also different types of people that basically depends on how patient they are. You can see this Trobbit is not very patient at all. And so as you are trying to give these people their drinks, the trolls have no patience. You better give them what they want right now. They have 2 turns, and then you're going to lose points with them. So after 10 turns of this, you are going to see who has the most points, and that person is going to win the game. Each person will also start with a special ability based on a character that you've chosen. And there's also little optional modules that you can add in and some rules for solo play. But that's basically how the game works. My biggest problem with the components is I think the board has, I don't know, I'm not a real big fan of the font and everything. It's okay, it's a little crowded and a little hard to see where everything goes on the board. Other than that, though, I'm very pleased. The cards themselves are very good quality. They're very easy to distinguish. I know if I have ambrosia or an elixir. I guess that's my thing about the board is it's not always easy to see where you get stuff. I'm like, oh, I need some ambrosia. Okay, I know it's 5. Where else is it? Oh, there it is. I mean, you can learn it after a while, but it might take a bit. The first player marker is really cool. The dice are okay dice. They're not great. They're not horrible. The artwork on the cards and everything is, of course, it's good. It's that same style. This artist is one of the few artists that as soon as I see their stuff, I know exactly what, it's the same guy who did the Raiders of the North Sea and stuff. I can immediately tell what, how that looks. But it looks good. There's lots of different art. The clock looks good. The wooden pieces are good. Your scoring marker is a beard token. And, everything here looks really good. My only complaint would be the little bit cluttered board. So Cavern Tavern here is in this genre, again, where you're placing dice out, and it is not an unfun experience. There is some fun, the joy to collecting the different drink ingredients to make the drinks to please them. And I really like a lot of the concepts in this game. I like the fact that there's different places to put dice. That's always a good, fun thing for me to do. I like the fact that the drinks devalue, and so you have to decide what drink do you want to take, what ingredients do you have. I like the, and so you have to figure out when you help people. I like that you have the different tracks, but I think there's some flaws in the game where the game just doesn't feel completely done. And let me explain what they are. First of all, when placing the dice, again, the idea of putting dice down and getting ingredients is great. But sometimes you need specific ingredients to finish off a drink, and you roll dice that give you nothing you need. So what do you do in that situation? Sure, you can go somewhere and get points, but again, you're going to take a negative point on a nasty track, which we'll come back to later. But you're just basically stuck taking stuff you don't really need. You can go to a big spot, use all your dice, but if you roll low dice and the numbers don't match the ingredients you need, you're kind of out of luck that turn. And it's just not a very fun turn for you because there's not a lot of ways in this game to manipulate dice. Yes, you get a plus or minus token after you've moved down the track pretty far. And I think that's where Kingsburg, for example, had many different ways to manipulate dice, and some of the lower spots were pretty good to go to. Here, it feels like the higher spots are really awesome to go to, and there's even spots where you can steal ingredients from someone else, so you might have worked really hard to get an ingredient, and then someone will just take it from you. Yes, you can use your dice to get a wild if you have nothing else to do, but someone else might have gone there too, and it feels like many times you're just kind of spinning your wheels. There's not as much to do on your turn. And the flip side happens. Sometimes you have the ingredients you need, the order turns up, and you got it. It's done. And because of that, because the ingredients, like at the beginning of the game, you're supposed to choose some ingredients randomly. Oh, then you choose them and boom! Oh, great, I can fulfill this order, or, get a couple ingredients and fulfill it faster than someone else. And so luck plays a fairly big role in the game. And, like I said, I like the components. I don't dislike the game. I like placing the stuff into different areas. I also just felt like when it was my turn, I was like, get ingredients, fulfill the orders, and I'm done. And it didn't feel like there was many other divergent paths. Ooh, I'm going to work in the cellar. Okay, great. But you can only work in the cellar if your total is an odd number. You know, the other one is an even number, an odd number goes to the seller. And so I just felt that there was this problem back and forth moving. Now, the tracks. Moving down the tracks in this game, if you move down the kitchen tracks or the cellar tracks, you can get lots of extra points. Great. If you move down Nasty's tracks, you get those cards, which could be really negative and hurtful. And the problem that this causes is someone who's not doing well is going to do worse. And someone who's doing well is going to do better. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. And so in this game, if you fall behind, it's very difficult to catch up. Well, it sounds like I'm kind of beating up on the game, and I don't mean to be. It's not, again, it's not like I sit there and dread the thought of playing this game. I think the game's a fine, fun game to play, but it feels also a little underdeveloped. It feels like there could have been more places to put your dice or throwaway places to put your dice that gave you some decent things. There are a few throwaway places on this board, but since lots of players are throwing things away, they'll go there, and a lot of them aren't even that great anyway. Get rid of an order on the board, put out another order. That's kind of random, and I used my dice that maybe will help you. I don't know. It feels like it's the beginning of what could have been a great game, and as it is, it's a medium, decent game. Dice Tower Judgment, a decent dice placement game.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.